Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Modern Overman. Okay, so today I've got kind of maybe another video in our survival series that we're doing. I'm not sure how this is going to fit in all together, but we'll kind of see as this develops, and hopefully we can everybody can give feedback on what you think, um, how this is working for you. So I wanted to start off today by talking about optimizing your loadout. So I've just bought this hunter from the recruitment section, and I've already given her a couple traits and a couple some equipment, and so let's just get right into it. So starting off here, let's look at some of the things that she's got and how this can help us in the bayou. So first of all, I want to point out what our health bars are looking like right here. So as you all know, if you're, just getting started to the game or you're a veteran, everybody knows that your first big bar right here cannot be changed. That's your 50 health bar. That's what you get set with. You can't change that. But your other ones you can change, and luckily they've changed it to where you don't. There's no cost to change it. You can respec it at any time by removing your health bars here. You do get trait points, but then if you use those trait points for actual traits, then you won't be able to add health bars back. So starting off, what I like to do for health bars, as I'm sure you'll notice in a lot of my videos, is I'll do the big bar, the 50, 225s, and 150. Now, why is that? Well, the first big thing is your big bar, having it be the last bar on your health, is there's two sides to this sort of coin here. Is that having it be a big bar means that you can take a few hits without completely losing a health bar. So if somebody, takes a shot at you from kind of far away, maybe they just aren't a very good shot. Maybe they hit you in the arm or hit you in the leg. Even a shot to the chest from far away sometimes won't take that full health chunk away, depending on what weapon they're firing you at with. So that's the first thing, is that if you don't have to heal after getting shot, that's kind of nice. You can just wait for that health bar to refill back up, and then you're kind of back in the fight. The other thing is too is fire and other custom ammo munitions that people are using out in the bayou. So let's say that you accidentally shoot an immolator, right? Or an immolator blows up right next to you. Most of the time, an immolator will instantly burn a 25 health bar from you. So with that 50 health bar, you've got a moment to sort of stop yourself from completely losing that health bar. Same thing if somebody throws a hellfire bomb down at you, or the dragonfire bolt, or the various dragon breath rather rounds that shotguns have now. You're not going to lose that health bar right away. And then in concert with the salve skin trait, you're not going to be losing that bar. At least unless somebody downs you and starts burning you heavily or keeps throwing fire bombs at you, you're not going to lose that health bar right away. So that's a big plus. The other thing is too, with custom ammo, like especially with bleed rounds, if somebody hits you with bleeding, if you can stop the bleeding real quick, or you have bloodless, then you're not going to lose that health bar either right away. And so that's really nice. It's just really an effective bar, having that be a 50 health bar when just getting into normal fights, as you're trying to heal and try to take cover. The other instance as well is that when you're healing after taking a decent amount of damage, if you don't have Doctor and you're trying to use a health kit to heal, if you let your first 50 health bar, as long as that's full, and you heal from a health kit, then that health will come back into that last 50 health bar as long as you haven't lost it. Then you'll continue full health without needing to have the doctor trait, which is really, really helpful. And that's pretty much what it is. It's just having that big buffer at the end of your health to stop a bunch of other, ammo types and burning and everything else from taking you out of the fight, or at least temporarily taking you out of the fight. So you can go into cover quick and then get back into the fight. Take your follow-up shot, what have you. Now, here's the downside. Obviously, with the state of Hunt Showdown right now, almost every solo player or team player when they go down, they lose that first health chunk, at least at first. And as long as you aren't burning, then that's the only health chunk that you've lost. And if it's a big bar, then that's a big that's a big problem, right? That's a huge disadvantage for you to be out of the fight, or trying to come back into the fight with a big bar gone. If you just have a 25 bar gone, then you're only down to 125 health. If you have a 50 health bar down, then you're only down to 100 health. And that's obviously a huge disadvantage. Almost every gun in the game, aside from like some compact ammo pistols, can take you out with 100 health remaining, just from one shot to the chest. So that's a big issue. Then obviously, for myself, mostly as a solo player, if I am downed with a big health bar and try to come back with Necromancer, then obviously that's a huge disadvantage to myself, especially when I am fighting a trio and I've got that to worry about. It's a problem. It's a disadvantage. However, with some changes with the current event going on as of update 1.16, Desolation's Wake, with the Lawmaker trait and I believe a few other traits that you can get from the other couple of packs, Lawmaker with in the Lawful Pact, you can get a health bar back, at least one health bar back, from looting a dead hunter. So, if I am down from a fight and I'm able to get up and take an enemy by surprise and kill somebody, and as long as I can get a loot off of that dead hunter, then I'm getting that 50 health bar back and I'm back in the fight. There are so many ways now to get health bars back. It's kind of insane. The way that events work now in Hunt is a little crazy. It's completely meta now to just be able to get health bars back. And then, of course, at the large supply point in the middle of the maps during this event, you can also go and get all of your health bars back as long as you have the packed points for it as well. So there are so many ways to get your health bars back. It's not really an issue. The other, complaint or critique I could see from this is that, you've got a big bar down and you're using Necro, and if you're down and out from a fight, having lost that big bar, well, it's like, what the hell? Why would you put yourself at that disadvantage? The one counter I would say is try not to die. Try not to die as best as you can. Try to survive. And that's, again, part of this, these series of episodes I'm going to be working on and putting out for you guys, is to let's keep you survive as long as possible without dying. And why don't we go ahead and get into the rest of that? So the first thing that we'll talk about are traits. So you'll notice that when I recruited this hunter, I put Resilience and Necromancer on it. So that way, when I go down from a fight, when I stand back up, especially with 100 health, this is reviving me with full health, minus the bar, and then plus Necromancer. So that's a huge thing. If somebody is standing over your body and they try to take a shot at you, as long as it's not killing you, then with Resilience, you're coming back. And then even with if you have two small bars up front and you're only down a 25 health bar, that 25 health bar is also filled as well. So you can kind of take at least one hit from some weapons before being downed again. So that's important. The other thing here that we'll talk about with other traits is, obviously there are, you get points back from respecing your traits, but always one less than what the actual trait costs. So if I had Pack Mule and I wanted to get rid of that for some reason, it costing 4 trait points, I would only get 3 trait points back. The only difference is with the 1 point health, 1 point trait points, rather. Sorry, that's hard to say. Is that they've changed it for this event now that you actually get that 1 trait point back. So with having 5 points remaining, my instinct is to take Pack Mule because that's such a good trait to have. You can, loot extra tools and consumables back when you're looting somebody, especially if you're down a med kit and you only get a decoy back or something like that. It's really nice to have. And then in addition to that, with the Lawful Pact, you get some ammo back for all of your guns, which is another really amazing perk. So we're going to go with Pack Mule because that's really good to have. However, before we grab it, I will say that another really important trait to have early on is Salve Skin. Especially if you have small bars up front, it's really nice to have. And I would encourage a lot of you, as far as survivability, is to take Salve Skin. But for this case, we're going to take Pack Mule. And with one trait left over, the given trait as a solo is to take Magpie. This trait is so nice to have as a solo because you get 10 seconds of Dark Sight boost instead of the regular 5. And then on top of that, you get the antidote stamina and health regeneration anytime you pick up a bounty token, which is just amazing. It's so nice to have. I can't believe that it's only one trait point. It honestly should be costing 2 or 3 because of how strong it is for solos. But I guess for balance sake, the reason why it's 1 point is because if you're playing in teams, or if you only play in teams, having Magpie isn't really that important. It's mainly for a solo. That's why I would say that. But I still think it should be worth a couple more points. So we're going to take Magpie, and we're going to finish up with traits there. Now, going back to equipment. So let's forego all the other weapons and everything right now. We're going to look at our tools and consumables. And I have this saved as one of my, one of my loadouts. And you'll see right here, everything right now costs $5,500. That's pretty cheap. You've got your standard stuff right here, a health kit. I always take a health kit. I do not take a melee tool, and that's because I've got my tomahawks, the throwing axes here. I will use that. You'll see this in every video. At least until the recent, past, and then from the future, you'll be seeing me use this as my melee tool to take out grunts. It does use a decent amount of stamina, but I mean, if you have stam shot going or something like that, then you're good. And then on top of that, you can take out horses and hives and armoreds very quickly with just a single tomahawk. And so it is a super good tool to have. I highly recommend trying to get good with throwing knives or throwing axes. The other tool we'll take here is decoy fuses. Again, an incredibly useful tool that you'll get back upon looting. Is that you start off with 3. You can fake people out. You can push the distance. Get people away from you by throwing at them. And then on top of that, you can breach closed doors and window shutters. And then you can also clear up concertina wire as well with them from the small explosion now that they deal. Also, keep in mind, be careful when you're trying to breach a boss lair and you throw a decoy fuse. That little explosion that gets back, it only does so much damage, but if you're not careful, you take that little damage on yourself and then somebody gets a shot off on you. It could mean you dying, so keep that in mind. The last tool here is that we have is concertina mines. Now let's just talk about trip mines for a moment. I try my damnedest not to ever use trip mines passively. And when I mean passively, I try not to use them at entrances or windows or jumping off points unless I absolutely need to and I need to bait somebody for a moment. I try not to use them. I really only trap bodies with this. And that is because of solos and just necromancer in general, people necroing from a distance, or solos trying to get up. If they don't have resilience, then they will instantly die from this. If they do have resilience, they'll get up, but they'll be stuck in the moment in the concertina wire, and I can rush over the body and try to get a kill on them. Just to stop them again and put them down. The other point is that you'll often see me in my videos. I will try to put the concertina trap along the length of the hunter's body, and that's because it is much more difficult to see and much difficult to disarm from other, as far as other players are concerned, trying to disarm the trap, because oftentimes you're trying to it'll want you to either pick up a gun or loot the hunter when you're just trying to disarm it. And if you're trying to do it, in the heat of battle, it just makes it that much more difficult. And then on top of that, it is also difficult to see when it's along the length of a hunter's body. So that's a huge thing to have. So now let's talk about consumables. So I used to take double vitality shots instead of regens. And that was because the obvious point is that a large vitality shot will fully heal you when you're down on health, and it's much quicker than just using a health kit, especially if you don't have physician, the trait. It speeds up health regen. So the regen shot, I find, just allows you to stay in the fight for longer and without having to heal. I think it's incredibly useful, especially with all the custom ammo that's being used now, especially with bleed rounds. You can get to cover, get out of fight. Don't, you're not trying to waste a health kit if you don't need to, and this just keeps you in the fight for longer. I highly recommend it. It's 10 minutes each, so that means you get a total of 20 minutes of health regen. I highly recommend this just for staying in the fight for longer, especially if you run out of heals and people keep tagging you. You've got 20 minutes of health regen that you don't have to worry, especially if you're not able to loot a dead body for health kit back or find a health kit just in the world. You just get continuous healing. It's amazing. Highly recommend it. We're going to skip over the sticky bomb for a second and go to the antidote shot. Now, they did nerf this. It used to be 20 minutes of antidote shot. Now it's down to 10 minutes in the big antidote shot, which is disappointing. But I understand why they did it. It was incredibly strong. When you have 20 minutes of poison, like a strong poison counter, then, I mean, it's amazing. When you're fighting Spider, you're not getting poisoned, or when you encounter death traps in the world, or when people place death traps on your body, then the only thing you have to worry about is possibly that concertina. And it just is a hard counter to poison. It's amazing, especially again with the use of poison ammo. You're only taking the damage from the poison round. You're not actually getting poisoned, especially considering the effects of poison is the visibility decrease. That is such an annoyance. I highly recommend taking poison. There is so much poison in the world, especially when it comes to hives. You'll still get hurt from the hives. Bees, but at least you're not getting poisoned, affecting your vision and all that, or maybe there's a meathead around and the leech is trying to poison you. The meathead will still come after you with the leeches coming, attacking you, but it's not going to affect your vision. You're not going to take as much damage. Highly recommend doing that, especially when people try to block off entrances or pinch points with poison bombs or anything of the like, from poison bolts, then you're not going to be having to worry about that. I highly recommend taking that, especially right when you're getting into a fight or like right when you're trying to take on Spider or something like that. Highly recommend taking poison. Now, the next thing here is the sticky bomb. As I'm sure you'll realize, back in previous videos before this update, I pretty much used to take exclusively hive bombs, and I still will on occasion now because hive bombs are so useful. However, with the change to melee and melee tools against bosses, it is much more difficult to kill a boss now. I don't know why Crytek has done this. It is confusing. It makes me feel like Crytek does not want us playing the objective, which is going for the boss, killing it, and getting out with a bounty. That is just the objective of the game. Yes, it's a sandbox. Yes, you can play however you want, but technically the objective of the game is to search for the boss, find it, kill it, and get out with its bounty token. I mean, as you'll see, the reason why I have all this money, and of course there are players with more money, players with less, no big deal, but the reason why I have all this money is because I play the objective. And so the sticky bomb right now is a very useful tool for that. Now, the exception is Assassin. Assassin is incredibly difficult to stick and actually be effective with a sticky bomb. But if you can find an axe or have a melee tool, then you can use that as well. So, talking about that for a moment, what Crytek has done is that they have extremely reduced the spawn rate of melee weapons, rolled melee weapons around boss lairs. So things like axes and sledgehammers and pitchforks and shovels, those are almost non-existent around boss lairs. And so what I typically like to do, if I know I'm heading for the boss and I'm going to get there fairly quickly, I will go to guaranteed spawns of where melee weapons are, either at supply points or at some of the hard spawn areas like axes on stumps, or in case of scrap peak, you can find some pitchforks, like guaranteed spawns in some hay bales in some locations around the map. I go for those melee weapons when I know I'm facing a certain boss. So that way I've got that advantage because they still do decent damage. And then if you get the, I believe it's the Primal Pact where you can double your melee damage with that trait, then you can kill a boss that much faster. However, if you can't find a melee weapon and you have a sticky bomb and you're in the middle of fighting the boss and you want to get a quick banish because you've got teams all around you, or you've downed one of the enemy hunters and you want to make sure that they can't get a banish, then using the sticky bomb is a very quick way, as long as you land it right on most of the bosses, to get that quick kill, or at least do most damage to it, and so you can finish it off a lot faster. Now, of course, like what we talked about before, there are lots of ways for hunters to get their health bars back, but the easiest way, well, I should say that it used to be the easiest way to get your health bars back is to banish a boss, and a sticky bomb is, I think, probably still one of the most effective ways to kill most of the bosses, aside from Assassin and Racha, which I don't really go for Racha. So that's maybe the subject of another video. So why don't we go ahead and leave it there for now. I will get into some gameplay and just to kind of see the use of it and see the effectiveness of it to highlight. And yeah, why don't we see how things go? So thanks for stopping by the video. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know what kind of tools and consumables you like to take. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Spawn looks clear, but we'll see. Oh, yeah, see, missed it. Oh, wow. It's an example of how not to hit your tomahawks. If anybody spawned over here, they would have heard that probably. At this moment to kind of figure out where we gotta go. Shipyard. Okay. Let me take this sledge. Even though it won't do a ton of damage to Butcher, still decent to have. It's white, it's white, it's white, it's white, it's white, it's white. Okay, so we're gonna look for bear traps inside to get set up. Bear traps are really nice to have. Oh, missed that. It's got a bomb lance, so you know he's friendly. There's more people right there. Maybe his partner. See? It's a trio. There's 2 bomb lances. Should be fun. Oh, yep. Missed that shot. So just trapped my body. Putting death traps on me, most likely. Might just be waiting on my body. Sounds like they're crouch walking. They're gonna burn me. They're gonna try and loot me first. And they're just waiting. They know I'm a solo. They just threw a giant concertina bomb on me, so no reason to stay. Okay, here's an instance of getting assassin and having only a sticky bomb to kill bosses, so let's clue this closer. And try and avoid those hellhounds if I can. Hellhounds are just annoying. Probably the worst enemy AI in the game. There's usually some fire on the ground. So that's what I'm going to do. I kind of stick right over here. Actually, grab some fire. I saw come up here. Some fire right there. Okay, faster from there. So it can be easier to hear. I tagged him so he won't push me. It's annoying. see? And there's a solo out there, doing God knows what. Big bar value, am I right? Okay, we're going to disarm this. I normally don't set these, but no, here's what we're going to do. We're going to burn these bodies. Because we do not want him that solo out there looting these guys. See, that's me being an idiot. That's why you shouldn't set traps. You shouldn't do it. Just shouldn't do it. Yeah, he's out there. You can't really get here in 20 seconds.